Welcome to Best Life 30, your 30-day journey to creating the best life possible for yourself. You can just watch this video, or if you want to, sign up for the entire series for free and get the bonus companion worksheets that go with this video. Check the link in the description below. All right, today is day 4, and we're going to figure out how to find your purpose.
I think you should chase what energizes you. Everyone talks about passion, legacy, purpose, la 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 la. The one word to pay attention to is energy.
I love that.
That's it. Let's simplify this.
Okay.
So whatever energizes you, naturally expands you, feels like possibility, is exciting to do. It may be scary. That doesn't matter. It has to do with how it makes you feel.
Right.
When you were in your 20s, money made you feel good. It expanded you. It energized you. Chasing the money, that was the game. That was your passion. That was your There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And I particularly want to say that to the women that are watching.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because it is socialized into women not to chase success like that, not to go after the money. And so if what energizes you is amassing wealth, go for it. But what and the reason why I say that is because people talk about the word passion or purpose.
Right.
And the truth is, it's not a person, place, or a thing. It's not. It is the feeling of being expanded and energized.
Right.
If you're pursuing your passion, it means that you wake up every day and are energized. So instead of trying to think, what's my purpose? What's my passion? What's my purpose? What's my passion? I don't know.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking like that, I want you instead to ask yourself, what could I do today that would energize me? What energizes me? If it's making money, figure out how to make money.
Right.
If it is making a difference, figure out how to make a difference. It could be in any single shape or form. But if it energizes you, that's what you need to follow. And what happens is that passion also, because it's energy, it dissipates over time. Because when you first start making money, it's thrilling.
Yeah.
Thrilling. There is nothing more exhilarating than making your first million.
Yeah.
Nothing more exhilarating. Yeah. But what happens is once you learn how to do something once, you can do it over and over again. And so it starts to become routine, which means it's no longer energizing.
Right.
Which is why every entrepreneur out there goes through the mode of chasing the money, and then you hit the money that you need to make, and then you're like, I'm not fulfilled. What's my purpose? I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I went through that.
I need to find the way, I did that. Everybody does.
Yeah.
And it's because you were energized by the money, and now you're not.
Yeah.
Now you got to be energized by the next thing.
I'm wondering what would be the single most valuable piece of advice you'd give us to even attempt to create some of the value that you guys have done in both your very impressive companies.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it and you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. And if you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it. You got to have passion.
Ever since I was 5 years old, that's when Neil Armstrong stepped onto the surface of the moon. I've been kind of passionate about space, rockets, rocket engines, space travel. I became a science fiction reader, and I've always known that I wanted to do something having to do with space, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about it for really almost my whole life. And that's one of the things. You guys will find that you have passions, and having a passion is a gift. I think we all have passions, And you don't get to choose them, they pick you, but you have to be alert to them. You have to be looking for them. And when you find your passion, it's a fantastic gift for you because it gives you direction, it gives you purpose. You can have a job, or you can have a career, or you can have a calling. And the best thing is to have a calling. And if you find your passion, you'll have that, and all your work won't feel like work to you.
Passion is not an actionable word. It's correct, that those who do the things that they're passionate about do better, but it's not helpful advice. And so the question is, where does passion come from? Passion is a result. Passion is an energy. Passion is the feeling you have when you're engaged in something that you love. Passion is the feeling you have that you would probably do this for free, and you can't believe somebody pays you to do it. And I think we mistake that passion is something we do in our private lives, but it shouldn't be done, in our careers, for example. And I'm a firm believer that you are who you are. And anybody who says, I'm different at home than I am at work, in one of those two places, you're lying. And the goal is to make everything you do in home and at work something that you have excitement to do. So how do you find the things that you're excited to do? Well, it's actually easier than you think. What are the things that you love to do? What are the things that you would do for free? How can you recreate that feeling and be paid for it? So what are the things that I do on the weekend, right? I love, I'm very involved in the art world. I love to go to museums and galleries, but I love to go see dance and performances because I want to see how others are interpreting the world. So that inspires me. New ideas, new thoughts, new ways of looking at the world are things that interest me privately, and I seek it out and pay money for it, right? So does that mean I have to have a career in the arts? No, it means I have to have a career where new ideas are explored, where people are experimenting and trying things out, and I have to explore new ideas and try things out, and I'm just as excited to go to work every day as I am to, go do something on a Saturday night. And so the idea of finding your passion is ironically simple because you should be doing stuff that you enjoy sometimes. What is the stuff that you enjoy, and then what is the stuff that you love? Who are the people that you love, and what do they all have in common?
When I was small, I was also really undersized. So it's probably one of the reasons I lift weights. I was always every baseball picture, I'm the kid holding the sign in the front, right? So I was small and skinny. They used to tease me Eddie Spaghetti, and I'd get bullied at school, and I never retaliated. So I had that mixed with shyness, mixed with chaos in my home, which many people can relate to. And I got to tell you that the shift for me, sports was good for me because it gave me an outlet. I finally found something that I was pretty good at. I think the biggest shift in our lives, the things that makes us the happiest, is that when somebody helps us identify our natural giftedness. And when I was a little boy, when I got a little bit older, they pointed out my speed. So it wasn't my lack of size, I was fast. I was the fast kid, right? I always wanted to be fast kid, and I got confidence in baseball doing that. When I got into business, they said, you're intense. When someone points out a gift about you that you also kind of intuitively know to be true, they're linked to them. You're intense, you're passionate, you won't get outworked, you're relentless. I went, I am those things. And when someone linked those gifts to me winning, now I believed I could win. That's the other way to change identity, is when someone can link your giftedness to the victory, you'll believe it. Not like you're great, that's general, that's bullshit. Right. But it's something specific, like for you right now. You wouldn't brag about them. There's a few things you know what, I am good at these things, right? I've always been good at these things. It's natural for me. And when someone links that to you winning, like for you, for example, you're an unbelievable interviewer. You have this general, you don't need to be the smartest person in the room because you probably are most of the time. And so there's a confidence that allows you to be present when you interview me and just listen that's different than anyone who's interviewed me before. And so that's a natural giftedness for you, which is why there's a part of you that kind of knows, you wouldn't say it, but I am pretty good at this. This is a good program. And so the way we change your identity, the way I changed mine, was by getting in touch with what some of my natural gifts were and then using them in my career, using them in my life. That shifted the weight right off of me. Because the weight was, I suck, I'm shy, I'm small, I have a screwed up family. That's the weight, right? The lifting off of the weight is, these are some gifts God gave me, or the universe gave me, or that at least I know I have, and I can spend my life using these gifts. Now I've got hope. Now my identity's changing. Now my life takes a different direction.
Here's how you develop a passion. It starts as a minor area of interest. You gain areas of interest by encountering a lot of stuff. So if you haven't encountered a lot of things in your life, go out there and encounter stuff. Go sailing, go take a dance class, go study neuroscience, like whatever it is, just encounter a whole bunch of very broad, diverse things. From that, you're going to get sparks of interest. Like, oh, I actually found that interesting. I want to learn more. Dive deep through engagement, not through pondering, through engagement. You're going to realize whether something is going to turn into an area of fascination. So as you go deeper into it, you're going to either become fascinated or you're not. If you're not fascinated, move on. If you are fascinated, then that's an area where you're going to ask yourself one very simple question. Do I want to become the best in the world at that thing? If you do, if you want to become truly extraordinary in that thing, then go down the path of gaining mastery. Now, the reason I think that it's wise to ask that question going in is when you frame it of, I'm going to become the best in the world at this, immediately people understand the amount of time, energy, and weight that it would take to become truly great at that thing. And I don't think that passion can happen unless you're becoming truly great at that thing. That's part of passion. I don't think people are deeply passionate about something that they really suck at. And I'll give you an example. I love video games. I absolutely love playing first-person shooters. I learn a lot from them. I get a lot out of them. I really just intrinsically enjoy the time. It has both that sense of eating a cake because it's just fun in the moment, and I pull from it life lessons, business lessons. I practice getting out of the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system. It's literally gamified, so I'm getting better. I have points. I can, have my improvement turned into metrics. It's all of it I really, really enjoy. But I won't say that I'm deeply passionate about it because I'm just not that good at it. So that's one of those things, if I really wanted to develop a deep passion for video games and put it at the center of my life, that then I would set down that path of really practicing. Now, this is the most important thing that passion will do for you, which is it's going to pull you through boredom. It's going to pull you through the hard times. And that's why it's really got to be something that you just are prepared to become great at. Because when you're prepared to become great, there's just these insane moments of boredom, repetition, and all of that. And if you have this burgeoning passion coming out of that, that's what's going to give you the energy to get through it. So it's this symbiotic relationship between a developing passion and how hard it is to actually really get great at something. So the things you get great at need to be something that is this developing passion. So there you have it. That's how you do it, and that's why you do it.
You write in the book, there is no faith and no courage and no sacrifice in doing what is expedient. What do you say to those viewers that don't pursue their dreams and are locked in their careers because they are too afraid to take risks and pursue something meaningful?
Well, the first thing I would say is, well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. It's like the first thing you want to do is dispense with the idea that you get to have any permanent security outside of your ability to contend and adapt. It's the same issue with children. It's like you're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. And you might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that. The clock is ticking.
Yeah,
and if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
But isn't it a luxury to pursue what is meaningful? Our viewers have mortgages, they have children, they have payments and loans. It's a luxury to pursue because we lack the resources.
Well, I don't remember now, I'm not talking about what makes you happy. It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice. If you need to change your job too, let's say you have a family and children and a mortgage, you have responsibilities. You've already picked up those responsibilities. You don't just get to walk away scot-free and say, well, I don't like my job, I quit. That's no strategy. But what you might have to do is you think, well, this job is killing my soul. All right, so what do I have to do about that? Well, I have to look for another job. Well, no one wants to hire me. It's like, okay, maybe you need to educate yourself more. Maybe you need to update your curriculum vitae, your resume. Maybe you need to overcome your fear of being interviewed. Maybe you need to sharpen your social skills. Like, you have to think about these things strategically. If you're going to switch careers, you have to do it like an intelligent, responsible person. That might take you a couple of years of effort to do properly. I've dealt with hundreds of people in my clinical and consulting practice, and we set a goal, we develop a vision, and work towards it, and things inevitably get better for people. So it's not a luxury, it's difficult. It's a moral responsibility, and it isn't happiness. It's not, the pursuit isn't for happiness.
It's a moral responsibility to pursue what is meaningful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just can't explain to everybody like clearer when you figure out who you are and do all that, you win. If you're great at painting, paint and hire a partner to be your salesperson. If somebody at 20 years old made me their business partner as a painter, they'd be the most famous painter in the world. Yet, most painters wanna be the salesman and businessmen and women as well as the painter, and there's a problem. 85% of painting, 90% of people that are great at painting are artists and don't have the DNA to sell, and vice versa. All my sales friends and business friends that want to start all these businesses around something creative, I have bad news for you, Joel. You know, you can be a great salesman, but your pottery sucks. And so that's that. So like, and it's, that's a very funny analogy for the following. Figure out who you are, don't apologize for who you are, and then become even greater than you naturally are at what you are.
I think too many people give a shit what other people think about it as well.
Well, that's the whole game's broken because everybody's too tied up into other people's opinions. I only care about my opinion of myself. And I care what my mom and wife and kids and the world think, just not as much as I care about the way I think about myself. And that's it, just that slight advantage. And I think most of you care more about what other people think than what you think about yourself, and or you actually don't feel good about yourself, right? The thing that made me smile, when you just introduced me, you said, I'm one of the most motivational people in the world, comma, and everybody I know that's met him said he's the nicest guy. There's no comparison to the better feeling of people that have actually gotten to know me say that versus millions, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands thinking I'm the coolest. And that's it. I mean, that's it. And that's why it's easy for me to feel good about myself, right? And so I think a lot of people need to start with themselves. Maybe the reason they don't have more confidence in themselves or care about their opinion about themselves versus others is because they know they're doing things they don't like. So they need to work on that. I get offered and emailed 5,000 different requests for podcasts and shows, and what I think my friend here, let's see his name, Evan, Bo, Evan Carmichael introduced me to Bo. What Bo has figured out is time is the asset, and so if you want Kevin Hart or The Rock or Beyonce or Ja Rule or Richard Branson or Tony Hsieh or Sheryl Sandberg on your podcast, maybe you should start the 120-second podcast. And then you gotta be creative and try to figure out how you get, maybe you create the one question video show. That's it, it only shows one question. Promise you, a lot of people that you want as guests, if they see in the headline, I just need 4 minutes of your time for the one question show, a lot more are gonna say yes than can you be on my podcast for an hour and a half.
A brain tattoo I love sharing with my audiences is this one. A job is only just a job if you see it as a job. And so, why would you lose the opportunity to leverage what you do every day to grow your happiness, to grow your energy, to allow you to release more of your talents into the world, to allow you to help more people? Why would you miss that opportunity by falling into the trap of thinking, this is just my job. I'm just getting up in the morning, working 9 to 5, going down to the coal mine every day. And you could say, well, Robin, this doesn't apply to me. You know, I just have a ordinary job. Well, I've got to tell you, I've met taxi drivers who feel their work is incredibly meaningful. I mean, I was at LaGuardia and I remember, you know, being in a taxi cab and the man had this white shirt and his cab was perfection. And I said, you know, your attitude is great, your passion is awesome, your cab is perfect, you've got this fresh newspaper for me to read. What is your psychology that allows you to do this? And he said, Robin, this is not a dirty job. It's an important job. I get to make a difference. I remember being in Johannesburg, meeting the janitor in the Johannesburg men's room, or WC, who worked like he was the Elon Musk of what he did. He worked like Pavarotti sang. And so my point is simply this, it's really your choice as to how you will view the work you do every day. And even in the most quote unquote ordinary of work, you can find gold. And if you connect with the gold, you connect with the meaning. And if you connect with the meaning, you connect with your talents. And if you connect with your talents, you connect with the best within you. And if you connect with the best within you, you go to work every day and you are this shining star of world class, and you become the Picasso of your industry, and everything else takes care of itself.
Once you know your purpose, your direction is clear. There will be no confusion. It's wild, but there were times in my life I didn't know where I wanted to go. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But you know why? Because I didn't know my purpose. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I remember retiring from the NFL, and I was like, I'm too good to go out there and get any job. But my purpose was to take care of my family. But I was sitting up on the couch, you know what? It's all gonna be good. It's not a problem. I'm telling you, it's shameful. It was shameful. And I remember us running out of money, and I have to dig in the couches and try to find money for milk for my kids. And I was missing my purpose. I was in confusion. And one day my wife came to me, she said, honey, you need a job. I'm like, you know what? I can't just go out there and do any job. I was in the NFL. You know that. And she said, well, you know what? I don't care that you're in the NFL. We need some milk. We need to eat. We need gas. What are you going to do? And my first job, I remember I was humbled so low. My first job in LA, I went to a place called Labor Ready. And I showed up at 5 in the morning, and there were ex-cons, there were drug addicts, there were all kind of people there, and they would give you a job for the day for 8 hours. And I remember making $8 an hour for 8 hours, and they would send me all over. They would say, you got a car? I was like, yeah, I got one. Well, you're gonna go over here and you're gonna work in this factory. And I remember grabbing that broom, picking it up, and I started sweeping. And I remember feeling lower than low. I was like, man, and again, here comes the pity party. I was in the NFL. I knew I was running around with big stars. I was doing it, making money, doing all this stuff. And here I am sweeping the floor. And it was horrible, and I felt miserable. But then all of a sudden, something happened. As I was sweeping, I started to realize that I was doing something about my situation. That instead of sitting around talking about it, instead of sitting around, wondering where my opportunity was coming from, I was proactive. And let me tell you something, I was fulfilling my purpose. I got the money for my family. And I realized that I am not going to just sit ever again. And that was the turning point in my life in a major, major way. Once I found out what my purpose was, you'll do anything in your purpose, and you'll still stay there, and you'll be 100% on the right path.
Once you transform yourself, and even though I'm not running from myself, I'm constantly facing myself. I'm constantly battling myself. I'm not running from them anymore. I used to, but now I'm constantly battling them. So now what happens is, once you get to a point in your life where you're able to be on a podcast or be on a TV show and tell everybody how f***ed up you are, I will answer any question you want about me. Anything I did, anything bad, good, ugly, I will tell you. When you get to that point in your life, that's where your real journey begins. And you no longer have to have a small victory to keep you going. You now realize what your purpose in life is. And you realize, all this is just part of it. But at first, you need all these different tactics to keep you going because you haven't figured it out yet. Once you figure out that you're in a race amongst billions of people that live in this world, you're in a race by yourself. You have a purpose, and it's your purpose, not everybody else's purpose. It is your purpose and only your purpose, and it's your race. So then you're like, hey man, I'm doing my thing. I'm doing it to the best of my ability. What's next? There's no longer these small increments to get through life, because once you figure out why you're here, it just becomes a process.
I have worked all over the world. I mean, all over Asia, China, South America, North America, Europe. And I'm always asking people, what do you really want? And I have found most people don't want to be really wealthy. What they do want is they don't want to have any financial concerns. If they want to buy a new suit, they can go and get one. If they want to take a trip, they can take the trip. if they want a new car, they can get the new car. They don't want to just run out and spend or buy. They don't want to have any financial concerns. 2, they want to wake up in the morning excited about how they're going to spend their day. Oof. And the 3rd, they want to mix with people who are upbeat and creatively productive. Those are the 3 things that people really want. So in answer to your question, if somebody's watching, what's the first thing they should do? Well, the first thing they should do is understand why we have goals, not just to set a goal, because most people don't set goals right. They're operating with a limited level of consciousness, so they're thinking, if I could get a little more money, and if I could get him to help me and her to help me and this happened, then I could do this. Maybe this is get a new car. What we've got to understand is we're trading our life for our goals. Literally trading our life. Would you trade your life for a car or a house? I don't think so. So it's got to be something really meaningful. And we're not taught to think this way. We should sit down and don't give any thought to where the money's going to come from, where the help's going to come from. It's what do you really want? Like Ed Hillary was a beekeeper in Auckland.
That story.
He wanted to climb Mount Everest. It had never been done. People died trying to do it. He went in 51 and failed. He went back in 52 and failed. In 1953, he stood on top of the mountain with Tenzing Norgay. But he didn't know how to get there until after he had got there. Edison didn't know how to illuminate the world until after he had done it. The Wright brothers were bicycle mechanics in Dayton, Ohio. No one believed you could fly. They had been trying it for years.
But they saw it.
But they wanted to do it. They didn't know how, and they couldn't tell you until after they had done it. Now, the first flight only lasted 12 seconds. And the naysayer said, yeah, but they only were up there for 12 seconds. They said, we not only got up there, we kept the damn thing up there for 12 seconds. So when a person sets a goal, they've got to say, what could I want? If I just let my mind just wander, use my imagination, how do I really want to live? That's what they should be doing.
When we talk about living our quest, I think that